Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name's Mariah. If you haven't already, subscribe and hit the notification bell. We upload new videos all the time, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything. But today, I'm going to share 10 rules that my husband and I follow that we believe have helped our business be successful without having to work, and try really hard. Things just flow so naturally, and I really believe that these 10 rules are a huge part of that, and these are things that can be applied to probably any type of business or thing that you're doing. We get questions from new agents who come to us through these videos all the time asking for tips on getting started, and this is it. So I wrote them out in the notes section of my phone, so if I'm looking at my phone, that is why. The first rule is to think long term, and what I mean by that is this can apply to literally anything, but I'll use a real estate example. Say you're going to be sending postcards to a certain neighborhood and you try it for a year and you don't get any return on that investment, and so you quit. A year is probably not long enough to really see results from something like that. And I think that we live in such a microwave society where we expect things to happen right away. Or another example would be, one way that we get business is through YouTube videos. So say you upload 20 videos and you don't get any clients yet. Well, generally, like with everything, consistency is key, and you just have to stick with it and think long term. And then you'll get good results. But that's the first tip, is to think long term. And like I said, I think that applies to just about anything. The second rule is that I'm always willing to give part of my commission if that's what it will take to save the deal. So what I mean by that is, say, there's a lot of instances, surprisingly, where the buyer and seller can't come to an agreement, and a lot of times it's over like $400, and they're gonna just squash the deal because of this. And so something that I try to live by in my business is always being willing to give a part of my commission if that is what it's gonna take to just get the deal closed and make everyone happy, whether it's paying for a home warranty for the buyer or just giving part of my commission. I think that is super important, and that has definitely helped our business be successful, in my opinion. Rule number 3 is always returning calls within 24 business hours. I think, I know as someone who works with other vendors, there's nothing more annoying than not being able to get a hold of whoever it is that you're trying to work with when it's been a couple of days. And I've definitely had clients, I'm sure everyone that's watching that's an active realtor has had clients before, where if you go an hour without calling them back, they get super upset. Honestly, if that's the case, sometimes it might be best to just not work together, but I think 24 business hours is a good amount of time. And obviously, I always try to return calls, texts, and emails as quickly as possible, but that is like worst case scenario. The fourth rule is over-communicating is key. Generally, when I've had things go wrong in the past in transactions with clients, it's been because of a lack of communication. And what I mean by that is, I'll just use this as an example. Say you have a listing. I know we're not really seeing a lot of this in this crazy 2021 market, but say you have a listing and there's not a lot of activity, not a lot of showings. It's been listed for, say 4 months, and every week you're calling the seller with an update, and after a while it's like, okay, I don't really have any kind of update, so I don't really want to call them and just tell them the same thing, like, hey, no showings, like I don't really have much to tell you, so you just stop calling. Well, usually what I found is when you stop communicating, even if there's nothing to communicate, that's when they start assuming that you're not doing anything for them on the back end. That's when they start assuming negative things about you, and things tend to go sideways. So over communicating, that's something I always try to do. I know we're not perfect at this and we're always improving, but over communicating and communicating even if there's not necessarily anything to say. The fifth rule is that it's okay to turn down business. If someone isn't a good fit, then you don't have to work with them. There's nothing wrong with saying no or firing a client if things just are not working out well. The sixth rule is excellence over quantity when it comes to clients. When I first got my real estate license, I became pretty good at getting business. I became pretty good at prospecting and getting clients and doing all of that stuff. But something that I didn't spend enough time focusing on was giving the best service possible and excellent customer service. And so now I've taken a lot of time over the last couple years to just slow down and just take each client and just do the most excellent job I possibly can for them and put way more focus on that than just going out and collecting as many clients as possible. And it has paid off so much. I know I've mentioned this before in a previous video that I know my limit right now. I know my limit is a lot less than it used to be. Before I was a mom, I used to be able to do a lot more business, but I know my limit right now. The seventh rule, and this is something that I think can be applied to any business, like I said, is don't have a plan B if you really want something. I know when I was a new real estate agent, there were so many tough times when I wanted to quit, and I think if I would have had a plan B, I probably would have leaned back on it. And so putting myself in a situation where I decided this is what I'm going to do, this is my only plan, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to make it happen and make it successful, even if it takes me a lot longer than what I would like. This is what I'm going to do. And so not having a plan B is the next rule. The eighth rule is putting your client's interest above your own. As a real estate agent, there's a lot of opportunities to be a little bit selfish when it comes to maybe your schedule, or because we can make our own schedule, but something that I think is very important is always putting your client's interest before yourself, and just always checking yourself before you make a decision for your clients, or before you schedule an appointment, and just make sure that what you're doing is with your client's best interest and not yours. Number 9 is never argue with a customer. As real estate agents, there are a lot of times when things go sideways in a transaction and it had absolutely nothing to do with you, and there's nothing you can do to fix it, and it's not your fault, but of course the blame needs to go to someone. And so unfortunately we get the blame sometimes when things go sideways. Comment below if you've ever had that happen to you. I'd love to hear about it. I'm sure you have if you've been in real estate for any amount of time. And so just being able to just listen to the client, listen to what they have to say, and not feel the need to defend yourself or argue with them, even if you know you didn't do anything wrong. I think that is super important. Number 10 is being willing to evolve and change the structure of your business as both the industry and the season of your life change. Like I've mentioned before, my life has changed and my business has changed so much within the last year, but the beauty of this business is we're really able to mold it around our lives, and we're able to do it however we want. There's so many different ways to get business. The ways that I get business now are ways that are much easier to do when I'm at home with a toddler versus what I used to do before, driving from appointment to appointment. And so be flexible with your method of getting business. I used to always think I would cold call, and I thought that was like the only way I knew how or could get business, but be willing to change and evolve as the industry changes, but also as the seasons of your life change. Our last rule is always giving 10% at least, of course you can always give more, of every single paycheck that comes in non-negotiably. I think that I've heard a lot of people say things like, I'll give when I start making more, or I would give if I was making more money. But I can say from experience, it is so much harder to give when 10% is a lot more significant of an amount because you're making more than when you weren't. So if you're not going to give or be a giver, a generous person when you're not making a lot of money, you're probably not going to be a generous person when you are making a lot of money. And so I really believe that's something that has helped our business flow so consistently to where we aren't striving and trying like super hard to get clients. Things come and fall into place so naturally, and I believe personally that that has something to do with that. With all of that being said, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you grabbed any value from this video, hit the thumbs up button, and I will see you guys next time.